So I had this buyer, Bob, and he was like, you're a little girl, you're not from Cleveland, you don't know anyone here. What are you even trying to do wholesaling? If you ever even find anyone who wants to sell, you're better off sending them to me because I'll actually get the deal done and I'll pay you something. I was like, do you want the deal or not?
Welcome to the Millionaire Mentorship Podcast. Today I've got a very special guest, Tadi, hailing out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Imagine that. We're both here in Kansas City. She's now a Midwest transplant. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Me too. So tell me a little bit about your story. You're from Las Vegas. What the hell are you doing out in the Midwest with me out here?
So I'm from Vegas. I kind of actually have been chasing like the perfect real estate market for a few years, ever since I got into real estate. So I was actually working on the Strip at the Park MGM at La Pizza La Pasta.
Okay.
I was one of the people that opened up Italy in Vegas when that happened.
Okay.
And I got that job like on a crazy fluke. So I'm waitressing in Vegas. I'm a single mom. Things are going okay, but I really want to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Tried a bunch of different businesses. Things are failing. And then COVID happens. I'm laid off and I have to figure something out.
So this is all just from COVID.
This is all just from COVID.
So how many wholesale deals have you done so far?
So now over 150.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is impressive. So you're like 3-4 years in.
Yes.
And you've done 150 wholesale deals, all of them virtual?
Yes.
Talk us through your process.
So, tried wholesaling in Vegas, cold called for about 2 weeks. And I was serious. I was taking like 8-10 hours a day to really sit there on the dialer.
Right.
I worked in call centers before. It wasn't a big deal to me.
Ooh, I love that. Love that.
So Vegas was horrible. People just cussed me out and was like, why would I ever sell my property at a discount, whatever. And then
Hyper competitive too.
very competitive.
Right.
I felt like, this has to work because I see people doing it. And then luckily I saw a YouTube video talking about virtual wholesaling.
Who was that virtual wholesale?
It was Kong Wholesale to Millions, who now I'm friends with. So it's
let's
crazy.
go get this money. Shout out Kong.
It was him. And I saw him doing it. And I'm like, you know what? If he can do it in any state, so can I. I got a list in Ohio and I did 6 deals my first month.
Wow.
I made a YouTube video and then like the rest was history.
How much money did you make on those first 6 deals?
$38,000.
$38,000. Was that more money than you'd ever seen in your entire life?
5, 6, 7, 8 times more money than I ever seen.
So that would be like super, like you're like, I'm all in now.
Yeah. I was floating. When I try to describe the feeling, I tell people I was literally tingling when I saw that first wire in my bank account. The first one was almost $15,000. So to go from, I just lost my job and what am I going to do, to a month later, like seeing that kind of money was just life-changing, paradigm shifting, everything. And I was addicted. So kept cold calling. And then I started adding virtual assistants to it to also cold call with me so I could close deals because I realized.
Those virtual assistants, you said originally your family hails from Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
Are you using people from the motherland?
No, I was using virtual assistants from the Philippines.
Okay.
Right when I started out, I just honestly was just taking what I was learning from YouTube and just applying it as quickly as I could and seeing if it worked. Whatever worked, I kept doing.
That's awesome. So why did you pick Ohio? What part of Ohio did you pick, Tadi?
That's a really good question. So I picked Cleveland,
okay.
And I picked it because when I first started trying to, let me just cold call and get in these Facebook groups and just like immerse myself in this wholesaling world, I saw in all of these wholesaling Facebook groups, there were these like $20,000 deals in Ohio. And being from Vegas, seeing a $20,000 house is like, what the heck? How can a house be $20,000? So for me to be 100% honest, it was like, if I can't sell a $20,000 house, I can't do this business. Let me just see. Like
right.
20,000 seems like something that someone
you can make $1,000 on.
Yeah, I should be able to do this. Maybe the $300,000 deals, I don't feel confident to say, I could do that, but let me try this. And let me tell you, my first day talking to people in Cleveland, it was night and day.
Nice
people were not mean.
Yeah.
And it was COVID, so everyone was home.
Right.
Everyone wanted to talk and tell me their life story, and I'm chatty. So
right.
I just started talking to people. And then on day 3 in Cleveland, like remember I spent 2 weeks in Vegas, 8-10 hours a day. Day 3 in Cleveland, somebody goes, yes, I want to sell. And he accepted $15,000, and I knew I might be able to sell it around 30, and I ended up making almost $15,000 on that deal.
It's amazing. So you were doing all your own cold calling on your own.
Yeah.
What kind of lists are you pulling?
I was pulling absentee vacant in the hottest zip codes.
Absentee vacant, hottest zip codes. What kind of equity spread are you using?
At that time, I was doing 99% and up because I was just using whatever I saw on YouTube, but it worked.
So you were doing this, like, if you got basically free and clear.
Yeah.
If your house is free and clear, because 99, you're just leaving the one person who's got $1 on their mortgage or something like that. So you're doing that. You're talking to people. At that point in time, what is your pitch? What are you saying? What has YouTube told you to say?
Well, okay. So this is where I filtered things through, like, me. What do I actually want to say?
Yeah.
YouTube said, say I'm buying your house.
Right.
I didn't want to say that. So what I did was I used my family because my uncle's an investor. He has 14 properties in Vegas.
Okay.
My mom has 2 rentals.
Okay.
So what I would say to sellers is my uncle and my mom are investors. I am just trying to bite my teeth and find a deal. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And I just let the sellers teach me more about real estate. Mm-hmm. And in that way, I let them teach me, but I got deals because people just wanted to see me win because I would just tell them my real story and the truth worked.
So you're being transparent with people. You're telling them that you're looking for a house, you're new in the game, and you're trying to buy theirs. And that's what I tell people all the time. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Just tell them your story. Tell them who you are, what you're looking to do. That's awesome. So how many deals you've done? A total of 160, did you say?
I've done over 150. So
Okay.
this year I'm getting into like the 170 range in 2024. I'm hoping to end the year out with over 185, but I don't know yet.
What market are you focused on now?
So now I'm also buying and here in Kansas City.
Okay.
So now I'm kind of switching things because I was just wholesaling. I moved to Cleveland to also flip, and I really got messed up. Things went really bad.
Let me ask you a wild question. Did it have anything to do with contractors?
Everything to do with
Oh man, I would have never seen that one coming. You get a couple guys lying to you, telling you they're gonna have a job done in the right amount of time.
Oh man, no. I was completely naive, and it was all my fault. But like one guy took a deposit and a furnace and flooring. Like it was total theft, some of it. Then some of it was, things dragging out.
We have a series on bad contractors. You ever want to go out there and get them and do a sting on them? I'm your
Really?
guy. Oh, I'm your guy. 100%.
I didn't know that.
I'll put that out for anybody. If you've ever been duped by a contractor, we'll set them up. Yeah, 100%.
That's crazy. So that happened to me a lot.
Yeah, I have a big thing. People always say, and this is a good like transition for us to talk about, but constantly in my comments, when something goes wrong, I always you get what you pay for. And it's like, that's not the case.
That's not true.
Yeah, like, did you pay that guy good money?
Yeah, and I'm always happy to pay somebody.
Right. Did you get what you paid for?
Absolutely not. He stole everything.
Yeah. So there's a lot of shady dudes in the contracting game, right? They take advantage of people. Listen, number one, we have a strict policy in my business and I could just ask Danny what it is right now. He's going to be able to tell you in the background, but it is, we do not front any money for anything, period. We will pay you by the week on the percentage of the job work, and we will front all the material. And even then they'll try to steal stuff from the material. You know what I mean? So like, we do not do that. If they say no, my question to anybody out there is, do you pay your employees in advance? Do you pay any in advance? And would you trust a contractor to manage your money for you?
Right.
And that's what happens when you pay these guys 50% down. Every time I've ever done it, it's never worked out good. I've never, ever, not once, paid a guy money up front who has not screwed me.
Wow, that's crazy.
Never. Not once.
That's a really good lesson.
And I've done it several times and been reminded of it. So like when people say don't make the same mistake twice, I'll tell you what, you make the same mistake twice because you trust in human beings.
Yeah.
Like the last guy who got me, one of the last guys who got me was building my personal house, and we were just trying to find a freaking somebody to dig the hole real quick. Paid him $12,500, half of the dig. Dug the hole wrong. Tried to get him to go fix it. Ghosted me. He's on my next hit list. We're gonna hit him.
Are you serious?
I'm coming for you, Jared. I promise you that. I promise you that. We're gonna do that before Danny leaves town. I've already got him planned. I've been setting him up for. I showed up on a job site once with him, but yeah, definitely want to take the bad guys out. I definitely want to have like that kind of series of like us going other markets, helping other investors just rat out bad dudes.
So I feel double good about choosing Kansas City now because this is like like a low key, like a FBI towards bad contractors that I can sick it on them.
And bad people. Like we have some laws that are changing here currently. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's going on right now, but we've got this organization that is basically controlling city council and deciding what's getting passed and what's not. And totally.
Oh, I know. I don't know that.
Yeah, you might want to check out.
That's crazy.
You might want to go to kctenants.org and see what their goals are. It's funny because they are, and I'll just put this out there 100%, they are a pro-tenants organization, but they have stifled every single development. They've stifled. So if, let's just play this out. So if people are listening and they're like, oh, well, I'm a big fan of KC Tenants. Number one, all of our renters who are the worst renters that you could possibly have, the ones who call like code enforcement, the ones who do this. We've had them called several times because KC Tenants is that active in this market. They'll come back and they'll say, hey, your smoke alarm is out. Like that's the type of call we're having to go deal with. Like that's not going to keep us wanting to have a good relationship with our tenants. And so everything that they're doing is putting the tenant against the landlord and not helping that tenant ever get what they want, which is a good, affordable place to live.
Which is similar to like Washington, D.C. almost.
Or Washington State.
Yeah. And it's like you almost don't want to own property there anymore. And then what happens? Then everything is going to end up being state controlled and it's not going to be good.
Yeah, I think it's why you gotta have a voice, and that's why part of this podcast, and you gotta be able to get people together. Because the one thing that I have found out, like if we were watching this with my wife yesterday, I don't know about the Israel Palestinian thing, but you can tell that all of those people are highly organized, paid agitators. It's not even a cause. It's like it's stranger than fiction, right? It's really like the Occupy Wall Street, the Israeli versus Palestine, the KC Tenants, they're all just organized political groups that are not actually seeking to help the problem. They're actually just trying to get people riled up about their emotions so that they can feel like they have a cause.
What do you think that they have to gain from it all? Like if they ruin this relationship, and are they getting paid?
There's a clip. I listened to a podcast with the person who runs KC Tenants. Her name is Tara, and it says power. That's what she wants.
That's crazy. In a video, she says it straight up.
100%.
That's crazy.
100%. It says power. And funny about that is not only does she say that, but if you look at like, if my goal, like I call her to try to come on the podcast and like, let's solve the issue. If you care about affordable housing, I've put 100 housing units together. Let's figure out a way. No, I don't want to talk to you. Well, then you don't care about affordable housing because I provide it. You know, so you know,
facts.
Yeah, it's crazy. So let's talk, Tadi, more about your.
Thank you for enlightening me on that because that sounds really, really, really good. Like,
yeah,
I need to know about it.
Another thing you might want to check out tonight, they've got a mixer going up the road, 720 Main Street, right down the road from here, where they're going to be doing a bunch of syndicators who are doing some developments here in town.
Yeah,
might be a good thing for you to go.
I'll definitely be there. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah,
about
anybody
that.
I can introduce you to in town here. I was like, she didn't fly in here from Vegas. Like I was like, so you moved to Ohio.
Yes.
Then how'd you pick Kansas City?
So I moved to Ohio. Kansas, so St. Louis ended up being my next virtual market after Cleveland, which has its areas that are good for wholesale, but also like Cleveland, it's a declining market. It's really, really, really bad in some areas, war zone bad.
Shout out Ferguson.
And I love St. Louis, South City for all the deals and for all the, the great people, but I'm like, okay, this is not it. Did some deals in Georgia, did some deals in Florida. So as I'm doing wholesale deals, I'm also kind of figuring out where do I want to live? Because I'm a single mom and I don't want to raise my kids in Vegas. And I have kind of like autonomy on where I raise them.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. We could talk about it.
Okay, so that's interesting that you said that because that was a big part of me moving to the Midwest. I don't know if anybody's told you the same thing that they told me, but it's a great place to raise a family. Have people told you that?
Well, that's what I saw. I just saw, like, come on, in Vegas, there's Little Darlings, class of 2024 billboards. Do I want my daughter to see that when she's a senior? I saw that.
What's Little Darlings? I've never heard of that place.
It's like when you have a little girl, and then I grew up in Vegas since I was 6. I'm like, let's have her not grow up the way I did.
Well, yeah. The other thing is like when you live in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is great to me. I've got nothing but good things to say. When I went there was 1.8 million people living there. That was in 2006. Now there's 3.3 or 3.4 million people. You got a lake that's draining, But there's nothing for kids to do outside. What did you do as a kid there growing up?
I watched a lot of TV. We could only play in my cul-de-sac because Vegas is, the everything capital of the world. So
Violence.
My dad is super overprotective dad. He wouldn't let us walk 10 feet out the door, So my childhood was very sheltered.
Where did you grow up? I know
in Summerlin.
Oh, you grew up in a very nice area.
I did. So my family is from Ethiopia. We were very, very, very poor. I was born in Fresno, California. My dad went and worked in Vegas because there was no jobs in Fresno. Mm-hmm. He literally made enough money as a cab driver to pay our rent in Fresno and live in a studio with some random dude and just work as a cab driver. That's like how great of a dad my dad is. All he did was work to just raise us. Then after a couple years, he just missed us. We missed him. He brought us to Vegas. He didn't even want to raise us in Vegas, but we wanted to be together as a family. So since I was 6, I grew up in Vegas. Very sheltered, but also going to school with kids whose parents are in entertainment and nightlife. So I'm learning everything at school.
What school did you go to?
So we lived in right by Boulevard Mall, like in the hood.
Yeah.
And then my dad got us to.
So that's where you ended up with Summerlin.
Yeah,
so
that's how we ended up.
On Decatur.
First I was on like Maryland.
Oh yeah, that's where it is.
Maryland and Trop. It was
so
bad.
I almost bought that shopping complex there.
Are you serious?
You know the one right there on
Target?
No. So Trop in Maryland. There's a Domino's Pizza right there, if you know where that is.
Yep.
And there's a big yellow shopping center right there.
I know what that is.
I almost bought that one.
That's crazy.
I bid on it, almost bought it.
That's crazy. That's crazy that you have been in real estate that long.
Well, how young are you, Tadi?
I'm 29.
Yeah, so I started, so I'm like 22 years deep.
Oh, that's crazy.
24 years deep, maybe.
So did you ever buy land when in the south part of Vegas?
I own a piece of land off of Fremont right now, 2.3 acres on Fremont. And if you know where that new Showboat apartments got built.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I own land right across the street over there.
That's nuts.
And then an auto dealership there is like an old auto dealership that's now just a bunch of rentals. But mostly I bought houses in the bad areas of town and then started moving into commercial.
That is so cool.
So going back to virtual wholesaling, what markets are you going into? What markets are you actively after right now?
So I'm really focusing on Kansas City. So it being a great place to raise a family. And also I just saw how real estate's appreciated in the last 3-4 years in certain areas. And then I saw the plans and then I saw just all these things. So I was already doing a couple wholesale. I only did like 3 wholesale deals here when I really realized this is kind of like the perfect place. I even went to Florida and lived in Florida for 8 months, but I'm like, this is not for me. So I'm focused on Kansas City. I actually just bought a building on Prospect and 35th.
Ooh, I know that area well.
It's. I'm gonna go there right after this and shoot a video. It's pretty cool, and I would love to show you it.
Let's go look at it. We'll shoot a video there.
This is the craziest city, and I think there's so much opportunity here. So I'm really focusing on here, and I feel like I finally am in a place in real estate to where I can buy deals, and I can also still wholesale, and I can also do the social media thing and kind of do everything. So I'm focused here. I'm still doing wholesale virtually in Cleveland, Florida, Georgia. But the way I do my virtual wholesale mentorship, it's a partnership with my mentees. Okay. So they just pick a market that I'm already in and find deals. I dispo them, and it's kind of like, that's how I do deals.
That's also great. So is it JV 50-50 with them?
Yep.
That's awesome. So you've got a bunch of people all around the country helping you find deals.
Yep.
So we would love to be the person that you call when you get a wholesale deal here. And I will tell you one thing about me, like when you run into those tax delinquencies or people that you can't find the owner, I'll buy those deals. What I mean, like the ones that you can't even find the owner, that you can't even locate the person, it's abandoned and you're at a dead end.
That's crazy.
I'll buy that deal from you. And number 2, and that goes for anybody who's listening too. And number 2, if you run across something where there's partial ownership, like you'd only get one person to sign, or you have a judgment on the title and it doesn't make sense for you guys, I'll buy those deals. And I'll buy the good ones. So think if you got scratch and dent stuff where you guys get stuck, I'll buy them. I'll
definitely call you. It's funny because we had a deal in Hyde Park. I don't think I knew you yet, but it ended up, we caught it under contract in October. It literally closed 2 weeks ago because of, all these crazy issues.
You solved them though.
Over time.
What were the issues?
So it was a judgment from his son who was suing him.
Got it.
He had a bankruptcy.
Okay.
And then he had the guy who he bought it from apparently also had a bankruptcy, and somehow that didn't get cleared up. So that
What'd you guys
other
use to clear it up? Quiet title?
No, they actually worked through it in court. They used the courts, and what he said was true, and it actually wasn't on him like he was saying, but it took 8 months to do it. We used Import Title, and it took a long time, but they kept us updated, and I don't know if it was the court being slow or what really took it that long, but it was crazy.
I mean, it probably, if they were requiring probably a bunch of signatures from this guy to sign off on that judgment, just getting people together, you know what I mean? You're the most motivated person in the deal, right? They are like not that motivated. So I've got one I've been working on for a year right now, over a year.
Wow.
I'm buying it for like $6,000.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So we'll just continue to work the deal. So tell me about your building on Prospect. Let's talk about that. So I own a property on 42nd in Prospect. You're 35th in Prospect?
Yeah.
What did you buy?
So I bought an old, it used to be Luffy's Fish, which is a chain out here.
Yes.
So
I know that building.
And then the other half was like a retail, some type of maybe liquor store or something, but it's been abandoned for over 5 years now. And then I'm going to partner with a contractor who's taking no money at all to get it to where it looks good enough to bring a partner in with some money to do something better with it.
Okay. So can I give you some words of advice?
Please.
Are you okay?
Yeah, please.
All right. So a couple things there. So one, if it's on 42nd or 35th and Prospect, I'm guessing it was built in the 1900s sometime?
1910.
You would qualify for historical tax credit renovations with the federal government at 25%, which means that no matter what you do, just by getting it, you have to get it named as a historical building, get it on the National Register. It's super easy to do. Okay. Get it on there, and then you will automatically, whatever you put in the rehab, you'll get 25% of that back as a credit on your taxes. So let's say you put $100,000 in, you're getting $25,000 back. Now, if you get state credits, which you can also apply for, you'll get 45 cents on the dollar back. So you could go into that property that you paid $160,000 for, do a $300,000 renovation that only costs you $150,000. Basically, is what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
So that's called historical tax credits. I learned that in New Orleans. It's big out here. So like on a building like this, if we're going to go take this thing to the full end, every dollar we put in, we get 45 cents back.
So have you heard of the Prospect Committee, something like that, where they're doing from Prospect and 27th to 48th. They've made this plan to do the Prospect Corridor, something like that. So they have this committee that meets. So we went to their thing, and the way they made it seem like whatever funding, they didn't talk about the tax credits, but they made it seem like whatever funding that they would give, and it was like $30,000 or something, the restrictions would be so much that we should just not even do it because they're going to tell us how to renovate it and it's going to be more expensive. Is that accurate with the tax credits?
So it's not. So what you would do on this one is you just have to make sure, basically the whole system with historical tax credits is the outside's got to be the same.
Okay.
That is, in a nutshell, the outside's got to be the same. The inside, as long as, and I'm going to get some people calling me on it, but the basic whole general rule of thumb is that the outside has to remain the exact same. And pretty much anything on the inside could be changed. If you're looking at Kat's grocery store, have you seen that on Main?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it's on like 33rd, 34th, 35th, 36th, between 35th and 40th in Main, okay? They literally just kept this part of the building, like the triangle.
Mm-hmm.
On the back end, there's like all these badass apartment buildings because they get all of that. Even if they bought that building for $1,000 and they spent $20 million on it, they get 45 cents on the dollar back, and they can sell that to finance the property.
Yes.
So like before I do the renovation, I can go take that over to Commerce Bank, which is a local bank here, and they'll give me 90 cents on the dollar. So if I did a $10 million renovation, it's $4.5 million. I can go sell that to Commerce Bank for 90 cents of that $4.5 million and get that in cash and put it in my pocket today.
That was some fire game. And I've heard of this so many times. And I'm the kind of person where like it has to be an example form to really get it. And that made sense. And that's nuts. And I'm so glad we talked about it.
Step one, let's just break it down. Step one, You got to be on the National Registry of Historic Buildings to qualify for federal tax credits. Once you get that, you can get the state stuff. And depending on the state, it's usually going to be between 20, maybe a little bit, maybe 25, but it usually ends up being around 45 cents. And this is nationally, okay? But Kansas City's got really good. You'll definitely get federal. For sure you'll get federal, I believe. The state's harder. Like on this one, we're doing it. I paid a consultant like 20 grand to go do all the work for me, but you could do it yourself. This one is just like, it's a big building. I need some help, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, you should totally do it yourself. So you're virtually wholesaling now, Tadi. Tell me about, like, you have Ethiopian parents. I want to kind of go into that whole like background. There's a lot of Ethiopians in America.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Ethiopians in the two last places I lived, except for here. In Washington State, we had a ton of Ethiopians there. In Las Vegas, there is a ton of Ethiopians there.
Yes, there
Have
is.
you been to Ethiopia?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
So I went to Ethiopia in 2012. I was a junior in high school, or 2010, I was a junior in high school. It is the most beautiful place ever. When I was there, it was silent because there's not all of these like airwaves and all of these stuff in the airwaves. So there's this crazy peace and silence. The food is the most delicious food. It's so natural. It's so beautiful. But it's so sad because it's one of those places in the world that could be so amazing if the political system, you know, was different. And I think that's one thing people here really take for granted, is like how great of a country this is, despite the things that may be bad about it.
Yeah.
When you look at the rest of the world, like as beautiful as Ethiopia is, I wouldn't want to raise my kids there. I wouldn't be able to have a house and know it was mine forever. Just simple things like that. Like the government has autonomy on whatever they want to do. Technically, it's a democracy. Like a lot of these third world countries are democracies, but they really do whatever they want when they want.
We're a republic, which is different than a democracy. Everybody says we're a democracy, but we actually are not a true democracy, because a true democracy would be a popular vote, right? And we vote our people in to make decisions for us. I think I said that right. Somebody will call me out if I didn't.
Yeah, Democratic Republic. You're right. You're right. We're not just a democracy.
Yeah, like a true democracy would be like, hey, there was 1 million votes. The guy got 99,000 or 999,000. He won. We have electoral votes. They're given to states. It's kind of hiding the ball. It's a little bit tricky. They change it all the time.
Well, that's kind of the same, like without getting, crazy political or making anyone mad, but
make them all mad. We'll make them all mad. We'll get viral videos out of it. If you're making them mad, they're going viral.
Well, like most of the time in third world countries, because the West pushes democracy, a lot of third world countries, to get whatever they get from whoever they get it, will act like it's a democracy and people will go vote. But at the end of the day, the same people stay in power for like 20 years. It's like, what kind of democracy is it really if there was even a democratic republic or any place where people have freedom to actually make a choice on who is their ruler? It wouldn't be the same person for 20 years. It's just like when you're in a relationship with somebody and it goes bad, you go like look for the exact opposite, right? And that's kind of what we do as a country. We go like, we get a Republican president, we get a Democratic president, and we keep switching because we think the grass is greener. And it's okay. It's our system. Mm-hmm. It works and it fails, but it's better than the same family being in power for 20, 30 years and all of the wealth going to them and the country not being able to grow when it's such a great country. And then it's always in a civil war. A country that's always in a civil war, you can't be safe there. So I love my country. I love my people. Ethiopia, like Eritrea, all of the places that are Habesha people, it's a great culture. It's all about family. It's all about God. It's very respectful.
Are you Muslim?
No, we're Christian, but there's a lot of Muslim Ethiopians.
They normally wear garb, right?
Well, sometimes. I think now in like 2024, not as much. But yeah, a lot of times. I think Ethiopia is mainly Christian. There's a lot of Muslim as well.
Okay.
And then there's Jewish. There's a lot of Jewish Ethiopians.
Okay. Are you interested in investing in real estate, but you don't feel like you got the time to take a coaching program? I get it, right? You're busy, you're making money, and that's okay, but you want to invest with me because you're like, Troy, I like what you do. I see what you're doing. You're a real deal. Yes, I am. I'm an average Joe. I worked at Burger King. I worked at Red Robin. I started investing in real estate, and I started from absolutely nothing. and I will take you along with my journey, and you can get all the benefits, but you got to be an accredited investor. If you want to invest with me and you want to be a part of something great and you don't have the time, guess what? We're launching a fund that you can be a part of, but you got to be an accredited investor. And if you want to find out more about what that looks like, all you got to do is click the link and we'll show you exactly what that looks like. And guess what? If you're not an accredited investor, then you may down the road be an accredited investor. So definitely learn what that's all about and enjoy the podcast, and we'll see you on the next one. Okay, what don't you like about the U.S. right now? What's going on?
I feel like, so my political opinion is that the answers are closer towards the middle, and the polarization happens to keep us from ever getting to a resolution.
Right. So you don't think they really want us to?
Absolutely not.
We're better off fighting out with each other. Like, we have more in common than we have differences, right?
100%. 100%.
Whether you're leaning on the left, whether you're leaning on the right, like, nobody's going back far right. Nobody's, so we're just like, let's focus on our similarities versus our differences.
But that's not the agenda, though, like, because no one's going to make money that way. And that's the problem. It's a system that's based on inflation, which is horrible, it's all based on making more money every year.
Yeah.
How do you prioritize people if the goal is profit? There is a middle ground, but people don't want to get there because it's just everyone wants to fight because it's easier to just be emotional.
Well, TikTok gives you a classic example of exactly how incompetent our Congress is and why they don't want to get things done. Because the minute that Mark Zuckerberg decides that he wants TikTok gone, you get a freaking everybody passes it right away, right? Because they're like, whatever. Mark Zuckerberg said, let's go. Let's do it. But we want to have these issues on this and that and the other thing, and they could never come to a decision. It's just party line politics and stuff like that.
Well, that's our real leaders is Elon, Mark, Jeff. Like, when you really think about who rules the U.S. and the United States people, we're all obsessed with celebrities. We're all obsessed with billionaires. And that's our culture, and it's okay. But I think that if we're not going to, like, be honest with ourselves about what's going on, we're going to keep going in a downward cycle. My sister is my best friend. We grew up together. She's 2 years older than me. But there's this crazy thing of, like, when I got into real estate, a lot of things she would say to me was just like about landlords being evil. When I'm on the phone with landlords for 10 hours a day and I'm hearing what they go through, and I know everyone, and I truly believe, like you said, you always see the best in people and you believe in humanity. I do too. And I don't think right, left, or whatever. I think we all truly want what's best for humanity. I don't think any one person just wants to sit and be the richest guy in the world while everyone else starves. I don't think that's anyone's goal. But people want to have the money they earn.
People's goals.
Maybe a couple people out there, but I think generally if there's, you know what I mean, all these people, I think most of us want to earn what we have. Mm-hmm. We want to be able to have that and not give 50% away to taxes. Yeah. That's fair. Mm-hmm. And people who are really, really poor want a chance to not be very poor, have a little leg up. That's fair. But there's a way we can do that without systems being abused and without people being abused. I think people just aren't ready to really talk about it. That's how I feel about this country. I love it. It's the best country in the world. I wouldn't go anywhere else. I think people are crazy who are like, I'm just going to leave the US. Well, good luck, because you're going to see what's out there.
Well, that's cool. And coming from, like, the hustling mentality of being first generation in the United States, you probably have that. Do you speak Ethiopian?
Yeah. So I speak Amharic. There's 68 languages in Ethiopia.
Do you speak all 68?
No, just the top, just the top one.
Can you give us a little bit right now?
Yeah, definitely. እንደምናችሁ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ ዛሬ ከዚህ ቦታ እንደመጣሁ ብዙ ስለ ሪል ስቴት ተማርኩና እናንተ ትንሽ አስተምሬ ባስተምር ደስ ይለኛል.
And if you guess that without Google Translate, I'll give you $5. But what did you say?
I just said, I'm really excited to be here today. I've already learned a lot about real estate, and hopefully you learned a little bit about real estate from me.
Absolutely. I think that your joint venture arrangement is brilliant.
Thank you.
The way that you partner with your students and help them go get deals and you help them dispute kind of gets them into the mentality of you focus on the one thing that you can control right now, because I'm going to have to teach you this other thing.
Yeah.
And I can solve that for you. And it helps you not have to be all over the place.
100%. The first year and a half, I was just like, this is how to wholesale do it. And I saw out of like 50 people, 2 people would do it.
Right.
It's just too much. And I get it. Like, it is a lot. And it took me, even though I did 37 deals my first year, Troy, I got like 60 something under contract. So imagine how many I lost to learn all the crap I learned. So it was like, all right, how do I eliminate that? It's like, these are the markets you need to pick. These are the zip codes. Just find the deals. And then let's do the first deal or 2 or 3, however many you want to do. If you find a buyer, cool, do the deal. Yeah. But I'll do it with you. And then when you feel good, just go do it on your own. Because I realize people get so overwhelmed, they do nothing.
Yeah, that's true. That's that. I think there's 2 things there. 1, they either get overwhelmed and they do nothing, or 2, they don't see it happen fast enough. And so they just check out. And they got to have those wins right away, those small wins, so they can feel like they're going somewhere. As somebody who coaches people, I can tell you that I've noticed that too. And it's very frustrating as the person helping them to not take that personally, right? Like, to be like, is it me? Have you asked yourself that before?
Of course. I know it's not me, but sometimes I think maybe I talk too fast, or maybe I'm like overcomplicating the explanation. But honestly, I'm having an opposite caveat now that I feel like they're not learning enough because I'm taking too much off their plate. So I have to find a way to balance this to where you're not just passing the buck to me, but you're learning in this process too. So this is still a
you want me to give
trial
you a little tip
error,
that we just got from somebody else?
Yes.
And so we did it before, but we just went over it in our meeting after our mastermind that we just had this last weekend. And we always want to improve, just like you. And so I would suggest, are you familiar with the Typeform or Google Form or anything like that?
Yeah.
I would suggest just creating like a quick survey to give all your students and just be like, what do you like? What don't you like? This is anonymous. Like, you know what I mean? What don't you like? What would be better? You know what I mean? Like, we just went through that so that we could get our next mastermind better. And we realized that, like, even though we're bringing in all these speakers, they don't want them all. Like, they want more, hey, how to dials, right? Like, actionable steps.
Yes.
Right? And so as we make our mastermind and continue to ask our people for feedback, it gives us an amazing thing. Like, when I first launched my course, before I launched it, I put a survey out there to my followers, and I said, I'm doing a real estate course. I want to make it the best course ever. And we came up with all these questions, and we asked them. We had like 162 people. I posted it several times. But the thing is, what you start to notice, Tadi, is you start to notice that everybody has the same concerns. They all want financial freedom, and they're all scared to lose money. That is it.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, right? So you are super young. I don't even want to guess your age. You're more than welcome to tell us.
29.
Okay, 29 years old.
About to hit the big 3-0.
Oh man, it's downhill after that. I can tell you that. You borrow my glasses, freaking it's fun. But I'll tell you what, being young is you only young once. Just I always tell that to my young guys who are out there doing their thing. I'm like, listen, live it up, have a good time, but you're gonna have to get serious at some point in time. So you are already really serious. What are your goals out here in Kansas City? You've moved around a lot already, so you've got a good sampling of what's out there. What are your goals to do out here?
So I would love to be all in commercial, even commercial residential, like these buildings, warehouses, whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm not like a super huge fan of just traditional rentals, but I did meet a couple people here who have these like independent home living situations where they pay a lot more rent. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of working to just find like a couple simple rehab it and let them rent it out versus because...
Check out Pad Split. Have you heard of them?
I have heard of Pad Split too, which was something we might have wanted to do if we rehabbed the Hyde Park house. So thinking of like better ways to have rent, like Pad Split or these homes, and grow my portfolio. I would love to get into development though. Like that's my really big goal.
So you need to join. You're out here. You're brand new. I don't know if you've heard of Women in Real Estate Development.
I haven't.
It's called Wired. My wife is a member.
Okay.
It's called Wired. It's Women in Real Estate Development. It's out here in Kansas City. And I believe the lady who runs it, her name is Audrey Navarro. She was with Clemens Real Estate, but that might be a good...
That's awesome.
Might be a good connection for you out here.
Yes, that sounds so good. That's exactly what I'm looking to do.
Yeah, and when you talk about development, what does that look like to you, Tadi?
I mean, I'm dreaming big here, so...
that's what we can only do.
Forever, like I grew up in Vegas. When I drove by those giant buildings, I always felt like my maximum, output in life could be to do things like this. Like these buildings last hundreds, maybe even 1,000 years, we could build something to last that long. And I guess I'm just one of those human beings that want to make stuff that outlives me.
So... I'm the same way. So I've been putting this wild idea out. Hopefully it works out to like build this awesome sports complex on where that executive airport is right downtown.
Oh, wow.
here.
Yeah.
Like put all freaking Kansas City Chiefs, put on the Royals, put on the basketball team, the hockey team, everything that's coming this way.
That'd be so dope.
Yeah, and then you just have this whole like overpass system and walking system that leads into downtown, and just make it all that whole situation. And then you don't have the issue with the land because the Kansas City owns the land. It's the highest and best use. You already have height restriction because of that airport, so it gets rid of the height restrictions so that Kansas City can continue to develop. Just like, dude, these politicians out here, they don't think about like the future. They just think about today.
That was great.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So your big development plan, Tadi, like what does it look like? I mean, I know you said a lot of stuff there. Like you've seen all these big, like you want to do like a Resorts World?
Well, not even a Resorts World, but even, it's funny that you say that, but maybe even like a nursing home or memory care facilities, or, you know what I mean? Like places for these big buildings for people to live, because of the housing crisis, but not in a regular fashion. I'll say that, in a different way.
I think I was thinking that, and I think you should go into senior care.
Yes, like something like that.
Yeah, you make $5,000 to $7,000 at least minimum per door. I had a gal on before who specializes in this, but she'll say that you'll make more money on one of those properties than you can like on like probably 10, 15, 20 single family houses.
100%. There's this guy that I was watching, Dirk Vandervelt, and he's on social media and stuff, but he went from building single family houses to building multifamily apartment buildings to now he was saying, like, now that he's done it all, he looks back and he's like, okay, apartments are dope, but you have to make so many kitchens. Hotels are cool. You don't have to make all those kitchens, but it's not recession proof. Yeah. But these, facilities, and they're making them larger and larger because so many older people are. So now they have the 150, 260 big facilities for older people to, especially like just memory care or just a specific, thing they're going through, Alzheimer, all these different things. So I think that's a cool way for me to have purpose, mixes property with purpose. And then because of social media and having a brand, I feel like I can mobilize people to help me on missions. But I will say nothing's in stone right now. I'm just doing deals, trying to see what's out there and trying to connect with people who are doing like way bigger things than me. Okay. And maybe I'll get a great idea. And, you never know what'll happen. I've kind of been growing on little God's luck favors. So I think those will come through too. And I don't know where the future will take me, but I see myself definitely being a developer.
Well, you're doing pretty well. The one question I have for you is, you mentioned earlier on that you have you're a single mother, right? So, like, what does the future look like for you there in a dream world?
Well, in a dream world, I'll get married again. So that's the other fun part, right? So I have 2 kids. So my time in the day is like 6 working hours. Cause I'm the wake up, get ready, and I'm the pick up and bath bed. So I'm everything. So with that, it's really interesting that you bring that up. It's like, I'm open to opportunities as time allows. I'll say that. Cause I do want to get married and grow my family. I got divorced in Vegas. So I'm open. My ex-husband is like a super active, great dad. So I'm not like looking for a replacement dad or anything, but I'm open to romance. I'm not like someone who's given up on love.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious because like, first question is you don't see a lot of women that are doing what you do in real estate. Because that's why I was super excited to have you on here, Tadi, is because we don't have a lot of women who are full-time real estate investors. You're probably one of, I would guess, like a 1%. It's maybe not even 1% in this community. Do you find yourself in most rooms with men?
For sure. All rooms, mostly men.
Yeah. So it's something that you have a niche, and you're probably, if you do end up getting remarried, it probably will be with somebody in the industry, just because there's so many like people, that's what you're exposed to. But I just was thinking, I was like, you're out here, you're hustling, you're doing your thing, and there's not a lot of women in real estate development and wholesaling and flipping. And if they are, it's usually like as a partnership with their spouse or something like that.
For sure.
Like my wife has never wholesaled a deal, but she's been a part of a lot of them just because of what we do. But she's like an Airbnb super host and all the stuff. But women, I think, really bring the compassion and the empathetic side to real estate. And that's as a sales tactic.
Yes. And I talk about that all the time. And I say, like, it can't be me, but I think somebody needs to be like the lady Jeremy Minor, because there literally isn't one.
And there is. I had her on my podcast.
Who? Kayla
Hodges, his girlfriend.
I've never heard of her.
Oh, yeah.
Kayla Hodges. And I just felt like, dude, women in sales can crush it so much more than guys, but women are really scared. And a lot of people that come in to learn virtual wholesaling, they're really just scared. They're
just scared to do something new, right? It's just like, holy crap, this seems very hard, but whatever you're doing right now is way harder.
Women even more so, because guys are really aggressive, and sometimes you guys don't realize it because it's just business.
Yeah.
But like men in business can be very aggressive, and sometimes you don't know how to handle that.
Like what?
Like I had a buyer.
We definitely are aggressive here. Like we will. There's a saying that I have. There is no honor amongst wholesalers. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
There's honor here, though, everybody. Well, but I'll say
if we know you're on the other side, there's honor. But if we don't know who's on the other side, there is no.
So
honor.
I wish I would have had that phrase when I started, because I got, and then I got, and then I got, like everything. It just kept happening to me, and it's always guys. And then so the first one was the worst because he was a black guy, and I'm like, come on, like we're supposed to be in this era of helping each other. So it was funny.
Do it, man.
It was really funny. But I say all that to say, like, it's you guys. So I had this buyer, Bob, and he was like, you're literally, and it's funny because I went to go screenshot his messages and he deleted them all. Message me on Facebook. You're a little girl. You're not from Cleveland. You don't know anyone here. What are you even trying to do wholesaling? If you ever even find anyone who wants to sell, you're better off sending them to me, because I'll actually get the deal done and I'll pay you something. So this is like a random, like a big aggressive paragraph from this stranger. All I did was post a deal I was trying to sell, and he probably went, saw I'm from Vegas. What is this girl doing? People are fly-by-night wholesalers. He thought I was one of them, and he just went crazy on me. And I'm like, dude. And I talked to this guy maybe 2-3 more times because he's kind of big in Cleveland, and he buys houses. He lives in New York. But he was just so rude every single time. Mm-hmm. And one time my daughter was like 6 months old. I was on the phone with another buyer, and he goes, do you want to call me when you're like in the office or something? And I was like, it's COVID. I work from home like everybody else, and my kids are home. Oh, well, I just think that's unprofessional.
Yeah.
I was like, do you want the deal or not?
Yeah, I think what a lot of times people do is we'll just try to test whoever's on the other phone.
Yeah.
Like, and guys talk differently. As you know, we're very direct communicators, and sometimes that comes across as aggressive, but it's confusing to us when females speak, because we're like, get to the freaking point. Like, you know what I mean? Like the conversation.
Because we're trying to nicely get there.
Well, here's a conversation between a guy and a guy going to a football game. Hey, where you at? All right, where are you going? You're going to the A gate? All right, so you'll be in front of the A gate. What? Sit in front of what? Okay, yeah, I'll see you there. Now, the same conversation with a woman, how would that go?
Well, now I don't want to say it. Probably like, okay, when you get to the gate, you're going to make a right, and then you're going to turn the corner. I'll be at A, but by the Coke machine, not the one by the...
Yeah, you're right. And so right there, we get confused. You think you're being super specific, but you lost us at take a right by the Coke machine. We would just
That's
say,
a fact. That's
drop
crazy.
the pin. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'll get. That's so funny. That's a perfect way to say it. And I think that sometimes you're not ready for that. Like, especially jumping into real estate. Like, these dudes are serious. Buyers are serious. Like, be ready to stand up for yourself. Be ready to, have a presence in every room, and don't be afraid, and don't keep playing small. Like, my first year, my second year, I'm like, oh, I'm a newbie. Oh, I'm still a newbie. Like, I'm trying to hang on to this newbie thing because I'm scared. Yeah. You know what I mean? To be in this room with the big boys.
You're going to do 180 deals. You are not a newbie anymore. You are advanced. I will tell you that right now. That's a lot of deals. So you should be super impressed with that. And I would bet you, even though there's a lot of people who say they've done that many deals, they're liars. And there's a lot of liars on social media. Yeah. There's a lot of liars saying that they're doing virtual wholesaling and they've never done a deal. They're just selling some stupid course that they don't even know anything about. That's one of the reasons I got on. One question I had, I guess it would be my final question because I know we're running short on time. You've grown pretty fast on Instagram that I noticed. I didn't check out your other socials, but what do you think the main reason that you grew so fast is?
So in the first First of all, I started a new Instagram because everybody on my personal page was hating. I'll say that. So I think starting a new Instagram can really rocket launch your growth because the algorithm doesn't know you yet. It doesn't know what to do with you. So you're able to like create yourself. So I would say start a new Instagram if you have an old one that's not doing anything. But then,
great advice.
Yeah, being consistent in your content, documenting your actual journey. Like, I'm actually sending a text blast right now. What's going to happen? Hey guys, this is what happened from that text blast. Hey, I got a deal. This is the contract. Like, being so transparent, you can't tell me that I'm a fake. I've been showing you for the last 4 years, deal after deal after deal after deal, HUD after assignment fee after wire. So over time, you become undeniable. It doesn't matter if anyone noticed you or not yet. But right now, if you're not trying to make viral reels, you're missing out on a huge opportunity, a huge growth opportunity, because Instagram is the only social media platform to where if you go viral, you're actually getting leads to whatever you're doing that are really high quality, that are gonna like you, know you, trust you, just because you have 800 posts and you've been talking about the same thing for 2 years. So do the work to put the content out there and then try to make some viral reels, because I went from 0 to now 80,000 on Instagram. I have like 15,000 on YouTube, which isn't that much, but YouTube leads people to Instagram.
Whoa, that's a lot on YouTube. It took me 8 months to get past 1,000 on YouTube. Now at 145,000 on YouTube.
Wow.
But it took me 8 months to get 1,000. And then Instagram, same thing. Like probably 6 months to pass 1,000. And so I think the biggest thing is consistency. In that first piece of advice you gave about starting a new account, and 100%, it brought me to a great quote that we learned on our call today. What was it? It was like, if you don't have a circle or something like that, what did you say? Your friends were hating on you.
Yes.
If you don't have a circle, you're living in a cage. Something like that. You know what I mean? Because you have that circle. I wrote it down. I have to give it to you later, but it basically was saying that, like, if your circle that you're surrounding yourself is not the right circle, then you're living in a cage.
100%.
Right. And then the other thing on top of that is, like, a lot of people are, the people that are next to you aren't rooting for your success.
They're not.
They're actually hoping that you fail because they don't want you to do better than them.
Nope.
And when you start doing better than them, they don't like you. And my wife and I were talking about the other day.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's just human beings. And my wife and I were talking about something the other day, and I was like, you know why they don't like you? And I said, it's because you're kind of a teacher's pet. You do everything really well, and people just don't like that. I'm like, I'm very comfortable with myself for the most part. And so me having someone around me that like pushes me, I like it. But a lot of people, they don't like that because then they see what they're not, right?
But you know how hurtful that is too? Like, people feel like, oh, you're Hollywood or you're doing all this. But it's like, people you helped move, people you took time out of your life to be a friend to, can judge you. And even people will say things like, oh, you're in real estate, you're contributing to blah, whatever social things they think. And it's are you crazy? You have no idea what I really do. How many people say, like, you saved me. I don't know what I would have did if I didn't sell this house right now.
Right.
Surgeries that they were able to pay for. Like, you don't even know what I do, bro. Like, judge me. I'm going to start this new Instagram. Strangers came and have supported me since day one. I call them my day ones. People who literally found me sending text blasts, doing cold calls with no following.
Yeah.
In a corner, in a room I mounted with the IKEA desk, and I learned how to use a screwdriver that day.
Nice.
Like, from nothing, people followed me and just were like rooting for me, strangers. But people I've known my whole life couldn't do that, and that sucks.
Yeah, adios.
Yeah.
Adios.
It sucks, but hey, when I get the private jet, there's only going to be like 6 or 8 seats.
Yeah.
So they couldn't come anyway.
Is that the goal, the jet?
Oh, for sure. Everything, the yacht, the jet, like, why not?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on the yacht. I mean, I think the yacht is one I would rent.
I'm more yacht than jet.
Oh, really?
So I'll get the yacht, and you can rent mine.
Okay, that sounds
and
like
I'll
a
rent
deal.
your jet.
But I want something like big, like the guy out of what his name was, something Washington, out of Washington. But this guy, he had his yacht in Puerto Vallarta this summer when I was there, and me and my buddy were sitting on the beach. He's like, how much do you think that thing costs? I was like, I don't know. $5 million maybe, and it was like ended up being $250 million. I was
crazy.
like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So it's just, you got to elevate your game. Like, here's the deal: wholesaling, flipping, buying real estate, that's going to get you a certain point. to get rich, you better build a company and take it public. Because that's the only way that stuff has happened. Or you become a developer where you're using other people's money, you're doing syndications and stuff like that.
Or media,
right. Tadi, we've taken a lot of your time. How do people follow your journey, follow your success? How do they get a hold of you?
So on all platforms, Tadi Virtual, just TADI Virtual, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, X, whatever, I'm there.
Now, we are doing a mastermind coming up September, October. I think you would be a great speaker.
I would
at that event.
love to.
All right.
Yes.
You got that on record?
This is so
She said
cool.
I would love. Oh, I can't though.
No, I would love to. I even DM'd you for the other one because I'm like, I just moved to Kansas City and your event was that weekend. But I didn't know you yet, so I DM'd you, but you didn't see it till like months later. But I think it's so cool what you're doing. And I've seen so many local people in front of that sign that's in front of your office. So I know these events are crazy.
Yeah, and we are actually hosting real estate meetups here every month at this building.
Awesome.
So every month at this building, I have a Facebook group, the Kansas City Real Estate Investors Facebook group. You're probably on it.
I think I am.
Unless I blocked you. If you're advertising on there, you're blocked and deleted. I have very strict rules on my Facebook group.
Okay, let me read the rules before I post anything.
Yeah. No, it's all good. If you did get blocked on accident, I'm sorry. I apologize. But anyways, it's been a pleasure having you in here. I really appreciate you coming in. I'm glad you were able to make it. And let's definitely do our next video at your prospect property, and we can do the before and then we can do the after.
Yes, that'd be awesome. Thank you, Troy, for having me. This is so cool.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Peace, guys. Did you ever want to invest in real estate? Did you ever want to live the life of your dreams? Did you want financial freedom? Did you want to break the generational curse? Did you want to help your parents out? Did you want to help your mom out? Maybe you work for a job that you don't like. They say there's only one reason to work a job, and that's to learn, right? If you're not learning at your job, you're just going through the motions, right? We have a free Facebook group, the Millionaire Mentorship Facebook group for real estate investing. Make sure you join. The link is in the description. If you want to schedule a free call with me and my team and you actually want to start, I would suggest you do so. We have helped hundreds of people change their lives, and all they had to do was get started. They booked a call with me and my team, and they got the ball rolling. And I'm so confident that if you don't get your first or next investment property within the first 90 days, you don't pay, and I'll give you $1,000 cash. That's how confident I am. Obviously, you got to take action. You can't just do nothing and expect that to happen, but that's life. Life's all about taking action. Make sure you give this podcast a 5-star review, share it with a friend, and take action.